Thanks for watching Numbskull News. And today we got to talk about this Pete Thamel thing. And yes, it's going to be about Uconn once again. Sorry if I keep talking about Uconn, but we've had a lot of news and shit's dropped and all that, and I've got excited. Apparently not for much. This is going to be a bit of a rant. Okay? So, a few days ago, first let me give some love to Greg Flugar from College Football's Peek Around the Corner. He said a few days ago that on a live stream that Uconn, what he was hearing, that Uconn wasn't going to get added this year, maybe next year, it could be revisited in 2025. And it's not a yes or no, but who knows, right? So he said that. Then Pete Thamel kind of made it official, saying that the talks have stalled out. And Commissioner Brett Yarmark has come out and said that, everything's on hold. Nothing's going to happen right now. And that the heads of Uconn and the presidents of the Big 12 have agreed to just put it off for right now. Now that's Brett Yormark helping Uconn save some face, because we got some pansy ass, stupid ass, dumb fucking presidents in the Big 12. I'm not sure who they are. I've blamed Utah. I've blamed Arizona State. Maybe that's accurate. Maybe it's not. But if any of these bastards from the original 8 schools who aren't doing this, not trusting Brett Yormark, kiss my ass. No, and it's not about being a Brett Yormark sycophant. It's not. This guy literally helped save the conference. Okay? Made brilliant moves, is still making brilliant moves. He's negotiating a ton of shit. He is doing everything in his power to increase the value of the Big 12. A la give everybody more money. He's trying to up everybody's money. It's not about the prestige. It's not about any of that shit. It's about business. Business. The business of sports. The business of college sports, as we are keeping our little lane to. And these dumb sons of bitches, I'm not saying all the presidents of the Big 12, because they're, we had one that came out saying that we needed to do this. If Brett Yormark's pushing for it, let's follow his lead. He's been good so far. What is Uconn going to do? Is Uconn going to unravel the Big 12? I mean, son of a bitch. What are they going to do? Are they going to destroy the here comes Uconn, and now we're just going to implode because of Uconn? According, and since he's got a lot right, I'm going to use it. According to Greg Flugar, Uconn was part of the pitch for several of the private equity companies that we've been talking to, that they've been negotiating with. Why is that? Maybe because of the market they're in. These people are bottom line people. They're not necessarily college football people. They're money people. They want to invest. Why? Because live sports is about the last kind of entertainment on TV or anywhere else that has major revenue potential. And it's only going up. It's going up. Even for the Big 12, it's going up. The ones that said no, the reason this thing's on hold is several of these presidents in the Big 12. You don't realize how lucky we are to have Brett Yormark. And this isn't me kissing his ass. He's made great moves. Again, he's helped save the damn conference. Mr. Yormark did that. He's given us relevance. He got you paid. When really it was the Pac-12 that was supposed to get paid, not us. But we got paid. And we've ran with that. We got 4 Pac-12 teams because of Brett Yormark. The work he did, especially with Colorado. And I don't want to leave out Arizona. He did work with Arizona. The only reason I called out before Utah and Arizona State, because they were the reluctant ones. They were the ones that were being the biggest turds, especially Utah openly. All right, but they're Big 12 teams now. I shouldn't just automatically point the finger at them, because maybe they're on board, and maybe it's somebody else. And if it's Cincinnati, if it's Houston, if it's UCF, even BYU, one of the more valuable brands in the Big 12, even them, if they're saying, no, what the hell are you doing? You could have been irrelevant in a G5 still, or independent with your pecker blowing in the wind. It better not be you. It better not be you. What it better be is maybe 2 or 3 schools going, I don't know, maybe even up to 4. Therefore, and Yormark he wants everybody on board. He's trying to be super cool with everybody. That's what I'm hoping, and not just shoving something through like the ACC did, adding the 3 they did, even though they had Florida State, Clemson, and UNC saying no. Maybe Brett Yormark doesn't want that. He wants everybody on board, and apparently, it's unanimous. Everybody wants the naming rights deal, and I haven't heard. Maybe I've heard a little bit of people. I don't know about the private equity, and look, I understand that private equity is kind of scary. However, the NBA does it. The NFL is doing private equity. Look, Brett Yormark is good for the Big 12. Maybe he knows a little bit more than your punk ass in whatever administration of whatever college, little small world that you're in. Maybe he knows a little bit more because he's been around maybe a little bit more than fucking you. Uconn needs to be in the Big 12. Okay? And I know. There's been guys like Bob Thompson, went on John Kurtz the other day. I like John Kurtz. I like Bob Thompson. Bob Thompson's a real smart guy. He knows more about the business of college, sports, and network shit than I'll ever know. But even he screwed up when he's talking about Uconn coming to the Big 12. He's like, well, I don't know if you can really split it off just because you got Uconn. No, you can't. Uconn is a piece. ACC schools coming in here. That is also a piece. Getting Arizona was a valuable piece to this. If Colorado can really turn it up, if Arizona State can really turn it up, they become valuable pieces of this. You need big monster brands, not just one. You need who you got. This is why Brett Yormark tried to do Gonzaga. I don't blame the presidents for Gonzaga. From what I heard from the deputy commissioner, or at least everyone heard, not just me. But last year, 2023, during the Big 12 media days, our deputy commissioner said that, hey, because he was asked about Gonzaga. He's like, hey, we were very interested in Gonzaga, but they want all sports. And the travel for like softball and shit is kind of tough. The Big 12 was interested in just the basketball. That may still be possible one day. Maybe Gonzaga pulls their head out of their ass and realizes, you know what, sending, I don't know, our volleyball players to West Virginia every year or South Florida every year may not be the best financial move. Maybe that doesn't work. Maybe the track and field, even though there's tons of travel with track and field and all that shit anyway, but still, maybe it would behoove us to just go with the Big 12 just in our basketball, men's and women's sports. So that's a whole different thing. But Yormark was trying it. Really got really far with Uconn. Doing everything he can to enlighten these dipshit presidents who don't want to do this. Now, it's only speculation on what's the holdup. Why not? Well, they want to wait for this or that to happen. They want to see what this or that looks like. You're not the Big Ten. You're not the SEC. You don't have time for that bullshit. They can kick back for 10 years. It doesn't make a fuck because they make a shit ton of money. We make good money. We don't make that money. We can get closer with teams like Uconn. So what Bob Thompson's talking about, and he wasn't asked this by John Kurtz. I understand. But if you get certain ACC, especially certain ACC brands, I've speculated on UNC and Duke. Most people will argue me tooth and nail. No, everybody, every expert, every person out there is saying UNC is going to one of the big two. Okay, but Duke is? No, they're not. That's not being talked about. Duke isn't being talked about going to either one of them. So UNC, I understand. I'm really against the world on that. Not against the world on Duke. Duke's a monster freaking basketball brand. That's actually, I think I would have a lot more support talking Duke to the Big 12. I understand there are certain UNC fans, oh, they'll never do that. What do you know, asshole? You don't. But brands like Louisville, hell, NC State. There's other high quality basketball brands that we can conceivably get from the ACC. And we will get them. But to have Uconn, make no mistake, Uconn is the most successful basketball school in the last 20 years. Men's and women's. The women's, there is no bigger brand in women's basketball. And all the experts again say, whoa, women's sports is on the rise. Women's basketball, WNBA, on the rise. College ball, on the rise. Talking monetarily speaking, on the rise. If that's true, there is no bigger blue blood than Uconn women's basketball. They are it. They're Alabama. They're Notre Dame. They're UNC as far as men's basketball. They're all that rolled into one. Now, the men's side, they only got several championships in the last one. So, how many national titles do both of them have since '99? I mean, it's an absurd amount of freaking national titles. You got to bring that shit here to the Big 12. People watch Uconn basketball. They'd watch it more with the kind of competition you get here in the Big 12. Nothing against the Big East. Great basketball brand. Great basketball schools and programs. Got nothing against them. There's just more here. I mean, Uconn versus Arizona versus Baylor versus Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Houston. Those are monster. Texas Tech, West Virginia. That's 8 monster matchups. We're talking prime time during the regular season. See, this is what people are missing. Everyone looks at the college basketball regular season as it stands right now and say, well, it's not a big deal. True. It's true. But you notice it kind of becomes a bit of a big deal whenever you see UNC playing Duke, don't you? Certain matchups, all of a sudden, wow, that's must watch. That's a big deal. This next year, it's going to be a really big deal when Kansas plays Arizona for the first time. Or Houston plays a conference game against Arizona. Or Baylor plays. You understand. That's a monster basketball brand coming into the conference. All apologies to Utah, Arizona State, and Colorado. Arizona, the Wildcats, that was the big ad for basketball. Uconn would be even bigger. 2-3 times as big. And I'm nothing against Arizona. Great program. Great. One of the best programs in the country. But they're not Uconn. And by the way, you Jayhawk fans ain't going to like hearing this. Y'all aren't Uconn either. Not in the last 20 years. Greatness. KU is greatness. They're not Uconn. UNC. UNC. Let me take my hat off for this one. UNC, one of the bluest of the blue bloods. The last 20 years, you're not Uconn. Uconn's the shit. They've been the shit for 2 decades. Look, everybody knows. All the experts have been saying it and tracking it. Basketball, men's and women's, on the rise, big time. There's been reporting that Greg Sankey knows this and has been pondering. One of the reasons maybe he's interested in UNC. Maybe one of the reasons that the Big Ten is interested in UNC, since they haven't won jack shit forever as far as national titles. So, when you have an opportunity to add one of the most relevant sports programs in Uconn, you grab them. You grab them. You like winning? They do that. They do that. The men's and the women's coaches, they're going in the Hall of Fame. These are Hall of Famers. Especially Oriema. Shit. There's never been a better women's basketball head. They may not have ever been a better basketball head coach ever than freaking Coach Gino. The problem is Brett Yormark is really forward thinking. I'm not saying he knows the future, but he knows how this shit goes. He knows what's on the rise and what isn't. He's got people that are advising him that, frankly, schools like Utah, Arizona State, TCU, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, you name the Big 12 team, they don't have the advisors that Brett Yormark does. Now, he could arrange for you to talk to him, but will you listen? Don't know. Don't know. So it's probably going to hold off till after the football season, which means 2025. I thought it was going to happen. I thought it was imminent. I was fooled. I thought surely these people will be convinced. They haven't been. They haven't been. They're too stupid to be convinced right now. So hopefully they grow a few more brain cells over the winter through football season, and Brett Yormark gets them back together, slaps them in the fucking head, and speaks a little logic into their ear. Hopefully that happens. Anyway. Thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with more crap later. Bye.